Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to talk to you about another type of oud, or two different types of oud. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about Cambodian oud and Indian oud. And the reason why I've combined those two ouds in one video is because I have this wonderful fragrance, which a lot of you know, Blue Oud by Arabian Oud. And this has Cambodian oud and Indian oud in it. So I'm going to talk to you about what the two ouds are supposed to smell like, and then I'm going to talk to you about this fragrance. So Cambodian oud is supposed to be like a sweet, fruity, woody scent, and it can sometimes come across a little bit bitter as well. But it's definitely not as, not I'm going to say dark, but it's definitely not as deep or bold or dark as the other ouds. Indian oud is then earthy, slightly smoky, and leathery. Now this fragrance, Blue Oud by Arabian Oud, I'm just going to spray it on. The Blue Oud by Arabian Oud has got Cambodian oud in the opening, which actually makes sense. So it opens sweet and musky, a little floral and a little fruity as well. And it's actually such a beautiful opening that lots of people really like this fragrance, and lots of people have this fragrance in their collection because they know of the beauty of this. It's also a little bit animalic in the opening. And then when it starts to dry down, it doesn't darken so much. But what you get is like a woody, leathery scent with some musk. That's the Indian oud in this fragrance. I have been speaking to people in the industry to kind of upskill my knowledge on ouds and just perfumery in general. And the owner of Oud Al Hakim has actually become a really good friend of mine. So I asked him a couple of questions, and he told me a lot of information about Indian oud, which is what I'm going to tell you now. So he would tell you himself through his social media accounts, but he doesn't have the time, unfortunately. So he's told me, and I'm going to relay the information onto you guys on his behalf. So everything I'm going to tell you now is from Oud Al Hakim. So he said that Indian oud isn't supposed to be animalic. The reason why it becomes like that is because of extra soaking of low quality or low grade materials, which actually ferments it and therefore gives it like that skanky animalic smell. Now, this to me makes sense because the Indian oud in Blue Oud, as I said, is not animalic. When it dries down, the scent is not animalic. Plus, there's a couple of other fragrances that I've tried, like Maison Anthony Warmin uses Indian oud in several of his fragrances as well. They're also not animalic. You've also got Memoirs of a Perfume Collector from the Midnight series. I think it's New York or London. I can't remember which one it is. But one of them has Indian oud, and that isn't animalic either. Obviously, these brands have clearly used the good stuff, but if somebody tries to sell you Indian oud, which basically smells really, really bad, like animalic, skanky, then this is the reason why you know why it smells like that. They have probably used low grade or low quality materials and soaked it extra, which has fermented it and therefore given it that animalic, skanky smell. Now, if you after that, if you still choose to buy that Indian oud, then obviously it's your choice. But the point of this is just to tell you that Indian oud is not supposed to be animalic and it's not supposed to be skanky. So the owner of Oud Al Hakim also said that Indian ouds are the most playful. They develop over time, giving lots of notes in one oil. Again, this I have experienced with the oils that I have bought from the realms of scents, which are incredibly complex. There is no way that with one sniff you can actually figure out what you're smelling or all those different notes. Those oils will take time to actually sit down, go into them, dig deep into them, and discover exactly what you're smelling. He also said that Indian oud is more stronger and masculine than other ouds, but it also has medicinal properties. He also recommends to never buy an oud oil within 5 to 10 minutes of applying it because it needs time to release the notes. So he recommends waiting 1.5 hours. And again, I have experience with that because I bought an oil from him actually while I was in India. I bought an attar called Oud Warda from him. And I loved it the first time I tried it. It was like a fresh rose on my skin when I first tried it. But when I then took it back to Doha, and then over time I was smelling, I applied it on 2 different days actually. And as time went by, it became that sickly sweet and creamy rose. So I think it was Turkish rose in that oil, but it didn't go well with me, obviously. It made me feel sick, to be honest. And I actually didn't figure that out at first when I tried it in India. He's saying is definitely 100% true. When you're smelling oud blends, don't just buy them straight away. You need to wait and give yourself time for the notes to release and to actually see how it develops on your skin. And finally, the other really big and important tip he said is to apply oil on the inner wrist and on the outer wrist on both of your arms. So inner wrist and then outer wrist. And the reason for that is because on the inner wrist, The skin is warm and it makes oil change faster, whereas on the outer wrist, because we've got hair follicles and there's no pulse points, the reaction is really slow, so we're able to analyze it properly. It's actually a really, really good point. So those are all the tips and advice from Oud Al Hakim around Indian oud and ouds in general, like buying ouds and trying out ouds. If I go back to what I said at the beginning, Cambodian oud is supposed to be sweet, fruity, and woody. Indian oud is supposed to be earthy, slightly smoky and leathery, but at the same time, it's very complex as well, and you can smell lots of different things in one oil. Now, if I smell the blue oud on my skin again, which I sprayed at the beginning of the video, it's definitely still musky, but it's going more onto the leathery side now. Cambodian oud and Indian oud are two of the most popular used ouds in the industry in perfumery. Next, I'm actually going to cover the other more common oud that they use in the industry, which is Vietnamese oud. Definitely stay tuned for that. I hope you found this video useful. And of course, please do go back and rewind this video so you can write down all the tips and advice that I said to you that came from Oud Al Hakim, because I personally think that it's very beneficial and useful information. And I'm glad he told me, because I'm able to obviously share that information with you guys. But of course, full credit goes to him because he's the one that told me all of that. So if you have any other questions, then please let me know in the comments box below. And I will see you guys in my next video.